Hey, Chrissie McDonald, welcome to my podcast, Sexy Aging.
Hey, thanks, Tracy. Hello, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really well. You're just up the road. You are my first Kiwi guest in quite a while, actually. Maybe, I don't know, the last guest might have been Sasha
Yeah,
back
yeah,
in.
yeah. I listened to that. It was great.
Yeah, and so it's nice to have another Kiwi guest, and we are just 2.5 hours away now because I can drive to Auckland. It'll only take me 2.5 hours. When we finish this podcast, I can come and see you. We could have a coffee and download everything that we've discussed here. How does that sound?
It was amazing to me. We could even have a wine and do it.
Except I'm doing dry July.
Oh, great. Right, and you know what? I hardly ever drink, so we'll just have a soda water.
No, we'll wait till August.
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that.
So good to have you as a guest on the podcast. And the reason that I've invited you on today is because you have an amazing program for women in fitness, and we have a connection in fitness, and it's called Hormonal2Hot.
That's
And
right.
yeah, so I love that. It's like people tell me, "Oh, I love the name Sexy Aging." I'm like, "I love the name Hormonal2Hot." I mean, we are
Absolutely.
birds of a feather.
Yeah.
We have this fitness background. We value taking care of ourselves. We love to deep dive into the science of what's happening to the body, and we like to help other women. So I think we've got a massive connection. But I'm going to stop talking, and I'm going to hand over the podcast microphone right here
Oh,
to
thank you,
you.
love.
It's a pink one that goes with the brand. All right, so take it away.
So awesome to be love to be on this podcast. I love your podcast. It is so good, and I've shared it with so many of my clients and friends as well. It's so good. You know, I feel like there's a movement now, and it's just been this massive gap, and you would have seen it in the fitness industry. And I've been in the fitness industry for 100 years, so I get it. There was just this gap. Like, what happens? It's like almost like you get to the top of the hill and then you just fall off.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good question because I keep asking this. I go like, I'm 51 and I'm freaking fit, and where's my training program? Like, what am I supposed to be doing? Can anybody tell me? I don't know. I am on this journey to find out, and I actually think you're going to help me.
Good, because that's what I'm here to do. There's something really interesting, and I heard it on another podcast. It was, at the turn of the century, woman's life expectancy was about 55, right? So I'm 57, so I probably would have been, gone by now. So women go into menopause, and that's it. Stop, life's over. But now, with technology and medical advancement and lifestyle, etc., we're living to, the average age is 85. So here's 35 odd years, 30, 35, maybe even 40 years where we're living in this within menopause. There's no manual, there's no rules, there's no roadmap. There's nothing. So it has definitely been this forgotten genre that it's so awesome to see so many women out there creating this movement that changes everything, because we've got so much to look forward to. And I've got a free Facebook group, and it's actually called Navigating Midlife. And there's so many aspects to navigating midlife. I talk about physical well-being, and that's where my program falls in. It's physical well-being, which encompasses menopause, perimenopause, weight gain, weight loss. I actually hate the term weight loss, getting into shape, energy, anything, health, anything that's physical well-being. And then mental well-being, mental and emotional well-being, and that gets left behind, behind closed doors. So that's a massive aspect of it. And then there's professional well-being. Like, why the heck can't we go and have the jobs and the careers and the businesses that we want? Yet we often get lost. Women get lost in this sea of brain fog, etc., and lack of confidence.
Yeah,
So we
and
don't.
imposter syndrome.
Yes,
It's kind of
yes.
crazy that you're the very, very capable woman and you're moving ahead in your career, and then you hit perimenopause and all the doubt, the anxiety, the depression, all those symptoms that collide with you to make you feel that you cannot do this anymore and you're done. You got to get off. You got to get out of here because someone's going to notice that you're incapable now, right? That feeling?
True, and so many women do actually leave high-powered jobs at this time of life because of this exact thing. And I think there needs to be more awareness around, that completely. And then there's relationships, because often women are going through changes in their relationships. They're divorced, they're separated, they're single, they might like to have another new relationship, or relationship with their families, whatever. That's a big part of life as well. And once again, lack of confidence can really play a big part in this. So many women don't want to be seen naked with their partners because of the way they feel about themselves. So, and that can affect relationships. And the last one is purpose, like a sense of purpose. What are you going to do with the next 30 years? Are you going to go through the motions? What floats your boat? Fills your soul, because that's a big part of life as well, is your purpose in life. So I feel that those are really five really important aspects in navigating midlife.
Yeah. I really love those. I'm going to put those 5 pillars in the show notes.
Yep.
And I'm just going to dial back a little bit, because for you to get to this place where you are today, you've had quite a fantastical journey, as we all do. That obviously teaches us a lot about life, and enough to want to share it. So, do you want to share how did you get into the fitness industry, and where did you get to develop your program? And you're still here today, and I'm still here today. So we're hoping to leave a legacy for women in their 50s and beyond, as in this is what fitness looks like for you,
Yes,
right? Yes.
exactly. And
How about
it's
we dial back and
all
you share,
right.
like, how did you get into the fitness industry?
Interesting, I used to go to aerobic classes back in those days, aerobics, and I had my second child. My kids are 32. God, how old? 32 and 30. So, and I'm a grandma. And anyway, had my second child, went straight back into doing aerobic classes, and someone said to me one day, "Oh, well, you're here all the time. Why don't you get up on the stage and, you should." And I'm like, I was really shy back in those days. People don't believe that, but I was actually a little bit shy. And I said, "Oh my God, how could I be up there and everyone's looking at me and I'd have to tell them what to do?" Oh my God, freak out. But there was an element in me that I wanted to try it. I'm like, yeah. So I did. I stood up and shadowed one day, and you know what this is like. And I went, oh my God, I like this. Oh, so I fell into fitness. I started teaching, aerobics, and that was about 30 years ago. And then I started teaching Les Mills about 26 years ago, I suppose. So, and the progression was from teaching group fitness into working on the gym floor, and then becoming a personal trainer. So I guess I was one of the first kind of personal trainers around about 24 years ago. So yep, fell into the industry and absolutely loved it. And I still absolutely love it to this day. It's just, it floats my boat. It's my purpose, my service, And then, fast forward a few years, I guess my kids were growing up. I was personal training. I was married for 14 years to, a really wonderful guy, but it just didn't work out as things go. And then I was in another relationship with the guy, and we ended up in Fiji, and it was our dream was to live in Fiji. And it was, I remember the day I landed in Fiji, and my daughter was already there with my partner, and I went, oh my God, I've done it. I feel like I've reached my dream. I feel on top of the world. And it was probably a matter of days, weeks, when my whole life started to crumble, because he would say things to me like, well, you look good now, but I don't know what you're going to look like when you're 50. And he'd say the most condescending, hurtful, terrible things to me. And unbeknownst to me, he was already, with a secretary who was half my age. But he was also abusing my daughter, which I didn't know about for probably a few years after that. So there was a whole lot of stuff going on, and my world just crumbled when I was in my place in paradise, and I often relate to my days in Fiji as being the best days and the worst days of my life. That's where everything changed.
Yeah, so paradise was a paradox.
It really, really was. And it left me a shell of a person. And I didn't know what was happening to my daughter at the stage, like I said. We broke up, and I went on cruise ships for a year because I just needed to escape. And that was fun. definitely not sustainable, but it was fun. So I was based in the UK, and I saw all sorts of amazing places and met really, really cool people. And that was in my fitness space as well. So it gave me the opportunity to do, to do many things around the world. And then I came back to New Zealand, but I just felt so much, I don't know, I just hated my life, I guess, that I went and lived in Australia. And I loved that. I lived on the Gold Coast. I got right into personal training and teaching group fitness, and it was amazing. I loved it. And I thought I would be there forever. Um, but anyway, while I was there was when my daughter came to me and for a few days, and she told me what had happened. And once again, my life, I just felt like an empty shell. I felt the worst mother ever. And she said to me at the time, Mum, I want you to know it's not your fault, and we've talked about a lot about this, obviously, in the past, where she actually has questioned me to say, how did you not know that was happening? But you don't with these predators. You just don't. But that was actually maybe 9 years ago when she told me that, and I've lived with the guilt and the shame these last 9 years, and I'm only just seeing a psychologist now to unpack all of the fallout, because it really has led me on a path to discover, this is where this emotional and mental well-being comes into it, because we do have so many things that have gone on in our past, and honestly, if we don't deal with them, they will come back and bite you. It's like a debt that has to be paid eventually, and it just adds to stress, and stress is everything. When you reach perimenopause, if you don't deal with the stress, then it'll catch up with you. It is that debt that will be called up.
Yeah, you're actually making me think about that now. I'm thinking about all the times, the challenges and stuff, and maybe that I hadn't dealt with.
Yep.
And then you're going into these midlife years, and you've got, in my case, I have a teenager. I've got an 8-year-old, so that's quite challenging.
Yep.
And then aging parents, and then a relocation. So you have all these things that you drag with you, like a suitcase. You've just
Yeah,
given such great analogies. A suitcase full of stress, and then it just hits you.
that is that is such a good point. It's like, yeah, baggage that you carry around. And you know what? I know that we are strong women, right? And we are survivors. Women are survivors. And so we will just pack everything in the suitcase and go, right, come along. Come on, we're going to the next thing. And we just keep going. We just keep doing it. We just keep showing up, and we keep sucking it up and doing it. But it catches up with you. And often it is, I see it with my clients. It happens when you hit your 40s and your 50s, especially. It's like all of a sudden everything just falls to pieces, and you feel like you can't handle it. And it is the perfect time to unpack this stuff. Like that's what I felt when I'm like, I think I need to see someone. And it was a psychologist. Best thing I've ever done, because it is. I think one thing our brain tries to do, because it just tries to do many things, is it tries to see sense and reason when there isn't any.
Yeah. Well, I just want to say, congratulations, Chrissy, because I think it just goes to show that at any age, when you can't get over this hump or you're carrying this burden and you just can't deal with it, that you would reach out and get that support. And I think that there's definitely been a massive momentum towards that now as well, that
Definitely.
people are saying, there is something in my life that's holding me back, that is affecting my mental health. That's a normal discussion. Why isn't menopause a normal discussion?
I know, right? Like,
We're getting
exactly.
there. We're getting there, but there's a lot of work to be done. I mean, the conversations are happening, but there's a lot of work to be done to support women in the workplace, in the home, just dealing with their bodies, helping them understand. So I want to switch it up right now and get on to your program. And you've given us
Yeah.
the 5 pillars, so that's awesome.
Yep.
Um, just one of the questions that I have, the type of woman that come to you, Are they sharing their sort of what I would call symptoms, or they would call challenges? So they might speak of, oh, I've put on a bit of weight and I can't seem to shift it with the programs that I was doing before. What kind of thing are you hearing that is bringing women to your program? Because I looked at your website and it's fantastic, by the way. It's very easy to navigate, and
Yeah.
it's very like it grabs you and it's like, oh, I'll just push start now.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Okay.
So what
What are
I
you
hear
hearing?
all the time is I've always exercised. I'm working out 6 days a week. Like I'm eating 1,200 calories. I'm restricting what I eat. I'm not eating carbs. You know, why is the weight going on? Because everything that I used to do doesn't work anymore. And then when I dive deeper, it's like, well, how do you sleep? What's your stress levels like? Do you know how much you're eating? Every single day. And most women are struggling with sleep, are quite stressed, and getting more and more frustrated with where they're at. So those are the things that I hear. And obviously, like we've talked about before, most women say, or people think that the only menopause symptoms, perimenopause, menopause symptoms, are hot flushes and night sweats and weight gain. But there's so much to it, like not being able to sleep. Um,
Episode 10 with my husband.
yes, that's right.
I got 27 of them apparently. I have 27 out of 34 symptoms. So yeah, go figure.
There's just, yes, so many things. So when I start to talk about women about all the different symptoms, to them it's like light bulbs and the mic dropping. Oh my god, and my hair getting thinner, and my skin and my digestive system and my energy, and all the little things start to come into play. They're all a part of where they're at. Um, so this is something I put together because I don't personal train on the floor anymore. I'm purely online, but I still teach group fitness because I love it. And this is I mean, because I'm 57, right, and I'm still doing it. I'm still jumping around, etc., teaching combat and all sorts of stuff, and I can do that because of the system that I put into place. So I sort of experimented on myself. I did all sorts of programs, I did all sorts of research. And to me, that was once again light bulbs going off for me. Like, wow, no wonder I feel like I do. No wonder, my hair's so thin and falling out. And no wonder my joints are so sore, and all the little things. So I pieced together this program where I've actually broken it down into another 5 pillars. It's the first one, you've got to master stress.
I mean, that's the first thing, isn't it? So stress and sleep, they kind of, well, they go together. They're like tight as.
Sleep is
Yeah, you got to start there. So when someone tells you, actually, you have to sort out your sleep and your stress, people get stressed about that because they're like, but I need to work out, don't I?
before you get to
Yeah,
that, you've got to manage your stress. You've got to do what it takes. If
yeah,
there is that baggage, if your suitcase is full, you've got to stop and open it and get the
yeah.
help you need.
But
you know
you imagine it, like there's a woman who's maybe put on 10 or 15 kilos, and then you say, okay, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make you lie down and sleep properly, and then you're going to get up and then you're going to meditate. They're going to sit there in meditation, and all that's going to play in their mind is, this cannot be helping me. I need to go out for a run. I need to be doing this. I need to be doing that. And you can see how
yep,
it's such a reverse to what they are used to hearing.
that
And
is
this is,
it in a nutshell.
yeah,
Yes, because we think that we can exercise our way out of this problem. And you can when you're 20 and you're 30, but you
mm,
can't when you're 50. You cannot exercise your way out of it. So the priority changes. And it's interesting thing because the second pillar actually ties into the first one, because you've got to stop dieting, because dieting creates stress in your body. So that's the next thing. Stop dieting. Like, stop all the I'm not got anything against eating methods, but as far as I'm concerned, you've got to stop fasting. If you're under stress, stop it. Eat a balanced diet and start to eat as many calories as your body needs as fuel, and then it won't store it as body fat, because your body won't store body fat for no reason. If
yeah.
it's under stress, it'll store it.
Yeah. Chrissy, I actually have just seen some latest research on some recommended fasting techniques, and it's really just to give your digestive system a break. And I do on some level agree with that. I just haven't found the enough science to support it for menopausal women right now. So I'm in those early days of investigating.
Yep.
But I just want to say, like, when people talk about fasting and they say it's about 14 hours, I go, well, I eat my last meal at 7 at night, and then I don't really eat breakfast till like 9 in the morning. That's freaking 14 hours. I have done that for years,
Right. That's
right?
it. Right. Yep.
So is that fasting? I guess that's what they're talking about. So I think that's also just saying, just give your system a little bit of a break. But when
Yep.
we say, you're talking about the fasting where they're just not getting enough calories. Yeah, I mean, like, it just does my head in when people say, I'm, down to 1200, and, I'm going to fast for the next 20 hours.
Well, that's getting metabolism down. Whoa, it's crazy. And then when we talk about exercise, you've got to prioritize strength training. That's number one. It's got to
Okay,
be.
girl, let's go. Please talk
Yeah.
about the exercise component. I'm here for this, as I'm sure a lot of my listeners are, because I've had a lot of questions like, okay, so what's the exercise thing we're supposed to be doing?
So, because as we get older, we lose muscle a lot quicker. We're more sedentary, we're not doing as much, and physiologically, our bodies lose muscle mass. Men do as well, but we lose it so much quicker. So, and that's called sarcopenia, I think it is. And because calories are burned within, your muscle cells, the more you have, the more calories you burn. Therefore, your metabolism is higher. So if you're losing muscle cells, then you're losing your body's ability to burn calories. Your metabolism is going to drop. As simple as that. And it's almost like you're behind the 8 ball the whole time. So focusing on strength training as opposed to doing a whole lot of cardio is where it's at. That's your priority, because we've got to reverse that trend. We've got to build some lean muscle, and the only way you can build lean muscle is to put it under load, under stimulus. So I've had questions about, well, power yoga, is that it? It's like, no, it's got to be weight training. And I know a lot of women are really scared and intimidated by it. And this is what I teach my girls. I set them up with a program so that they know what to do and they can go and own their space. And I tell you what, most women that have come in and never used weights before have followed the program, and I see them on the gym floor, they own it. They know exactly what they're doing and they're getting the gains. So there's that physiological response to weight training is huge.
Yeah.
And
Okay. So, in support of what you're saying, so what I know is that as your estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone levels are dropping,
yep,
the only way that we can help maintain the loss of muscle mass is to strength train.
that's right.
And then the
Exactly.
strength train actually has the upside of helping some of the other symptoms as well. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
Especially flushes, etc.
The hot
Yeah.
flushes, yeah.
Yep.
And so the vasodilation, it helps with circulation of your body because your muscles are used to moving so much better and more effectively. Yeah, okay, I'm going to let you get back to it because this is really cool.
So, and most of us have come from a aerobic background, right? Cardio background. That was me. I was the cardio queen. And what a whole, I my belief is it's got to be a mixture of strength training, enough cardio, which might be only 1-2 sessions a week, kind of depending on your body type and your needs, and mobility, because we've got to be able to move as well. So with the cardio, if we do a whole lot of cardio as we've been used to, that simply raises our cortisol. And most of us have got elevated cortisol as it is. So testosterone and cortisol kind of fight each other. So if we raise our, testosterone and get in there and do that weight training, it's going to reduce cortisol also.
Sounds good to me. So one of the other things is there's some other research about high intensity interval training or sprint training, like short duration training for cardio as opposed to long duration cardio. And I've heard two sides. And to be honest, I like both types of training. So now I'm thinking, is there a way through a weekly training program that you might have a bit of both?
Yep.
What do you
Yep.
think?
Totally. That's exactly what I like to program out. Like, here's your weight sessions. Now let's have a look at your particular body type. And maybe one hit or sprint type of training and one longer endurance one. I mean, for me, I teach, combat. So that's kind of like an interval training type of class. But I've definitely done the hit as well. It's really important not to overdo hit training because it just has the reverse effect. It elevates your cortisol once again. But when we do one, maybe two, that's where you're going to get the benefits there. Absolutely.
Yep. Okay, so this is where my ladies who have just hit their 40s, there's a lot of them. So they're coming through, they're really fit. They can do 2-3 hours a day of cardio and they're like kind of own it. It's like a badge of honor. And I'll say, hand on heart, you and I have probably been there as well. We're like, yeah, I can teach this class, and this class 3 in a row. That's a hell of a lot of cardio, and for us teaching, it's also a massive heart rate
Yep.
spike,
Yep.
lots of cortisol, adrenal fatigue. I've had it
Yep.
twice,
Yep.
so I know about it.
Same.
And so I am seeing these women come into their 40s with that badge of honor, and like, this is how I train.
Yes.
I run in the morning and I do my HIIT workout at night, and I do that 6 days a week, and I might do a stretch session on a Sunday. And this is kind of where we're at with fitness.
I know.
Right?
I know.
So
Fitness.
this is why this important conversation to let these women know, hey, your hormones are actually changing
Yes.
as you're wearing that badge of honor. There is
Yes.
shit going on in your body and you have no idea. So it's kind of like, let's find out what you really need to be doing so that when you do hit your 45 and closer to 50, you're not scratching your head thinking, but what just happened,
Exactly, which is what so many women get to, like, what just happened. I go back to that debt again. You can go get a loan, get an overdraft, and that's just that badge of honor, I guess. I'll get that overdraft for that badge of honor, and I'll do all that cardio. Yes, I'll do that. I'm really, really, I love it. Yeah, I love it. You got to think about the reasons why you love it, but I love it. But that debt's going to be called up. You'll get to 50 and the debt collector will be there going, okay, you need to pay me back. But there's nothing in the tank.
Yeah, that's such a good analogy.
Nowhere to go. And I read something the other day and, oh my God, it's so cool. It was, if you're in your 40s, this is the decade to get your shit together.
Yeah, like learn, right? Learn, educate.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely. Because of all the changes that you can't even see are happening. So before it happens, set yourself up for the best possible outcome.
Yeah.
And doing all that cardio is going to set you up for disaster.
Yeah. You know what? I think a lot of it comes from the marketing of, when you hit your 40s, it's your best years yet, 40 is the new 30. You hear all that kind of, it's marketed to women in their 40s. And so we're bumping up against this. Okay, mentally and emotionally, I feel the best I've ever felt. But physically, there is the decline that you're not aware of that's actually coinciding with 40 as well. And so I feel like if women could understand physically what's happening with their bodies and the hormones and just get ready, then they could have it all. They could have it all. They could have their mental, emotional, and physical wellness as they're approaching 40.
100%.
Right?
Definitely. And I think it's really interesting too, how you look at the fitness industry and there's so many myths that have come out of it. And like I said, you've got to look at your reasons behind wanting to do 2 hours of cardio. Is it because you think that that's weight loss and keeping yourself in shape? Because if that's the case and you found out that it wasn't, would you do it? Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually feel that from a lot of people that I do know that still train like that. And it's no judgment on them as people. They're amazing people. They're fantastic. And, I did that back in the day. That I kind of wish someone told me.
I know.
Right? Why are you doing that? Why are you spending that much time doing your 10K run followed by your 40K cycle? Unless I was going to race in a triathlon, I get it, but I wasn't. I was doing it because
Right.
it was about maintaining calories.
100%.
And I'm
Yes,
going to be 100%. Yeah, I'm honest here. I'm going like, I needed to know what was going out. I could put back in, and I could enjoy my life, and I could still walk around that 40 in a bikini with a six pack. And that was, hand on heart, a very important part of my life when I turned 40. It was like, I'm going to prove you bitches wrong. It's ego and attitude
I
that
know.
just comes flying back to bite you in the butt when you don't have the right information. So,
Does. Yep,
yeah.
does. I remember when I was 50, I was probably the leanest I've ever been. But I was teaching, I don't know, 15 classes. I was doing CrossFit. I was eating about 1,200 calories. I was physically a mess, yet I looked the leanest I've looked. And I used to hate it when I hit 50 kgs. I'm tiny, right? So I'd hit 50 kgs and that would freak me out. That and then compounded with all the stress and then compounded with perimenopause created a bit of a monster, and that's what I dissected and fixed, which is
Yeah.
what the program is all about. But yep, I've been there myself. I know it.
Yeah, yeah. I think we're two birds of a feather. Actually, is that the same, or did I just make something up?
So birds of
Feather flock together.
yeah.
Yeah, we pretty much had that same
Yep.
drive and upbringing through the fitness industry. Very, very similar, and both been through the restricted calorie
Yep.
counting cardio queens.
Yes.
Day.
Yes. Yes.
So I just, yeah, want to thank you so much for your insights, Chrissy. It's been awesome to connect, and I think that we're going to stay in touch and keep having these conversations.
Absolutely.
Really
Yeah.
help each other. I'm on that journey. You're ahead of me. To help women understand how to fix their bodies and make themselves just feel fabulous for the next 50 years. I'm just all about, I need to know what's going on. And it's so good to connect with you and find out some more truth bombs for the podcast. Before we say goodbye, wrap it up for today, do you have a favorite book that you could recommend?
My favorite book, and I've listened to this about 4 times because I listen to books. I don't tend to
Yeah.
read books. And every time I hear it, I'm like, oh my God, that's just amazing. It's something else. And it's Brené Brown's The Power of Vulnerability. It's my favorite.
Yeah,
It's
I read it last year in lockdown, and it was so, like, every page was something to note. So I started writing notes of every page. So it took me a really long time to get through it, but it was so powerful, and I recommended it to a couple of people, and they had the same
Yep.
moment. And I was reading it as I was approaching 50. So thank you for that, because it was just, yeah, it was a moment for me where I'm like, okay, so I have this incredible turnaround point. I can leave my past and my ego. For me, a lot of it was ego. I can leave that behind, and I can be all that I'm meant to be. um,
Yes.
and I think that's, yeah, it's a beautiful
Yep.
book. I'm really excited to be recommending that on the Instagram feed.
Excellent. Excellent. Oh, it's so good talking to you, Tracy, and connecting with you, because you're always like Tracy was one of my idols when I first started teaching Les Mills group fitness. It was like, oh my
Yeah.
God, Tracy Minogue here.
All right, so in August I'll see you.
Excellent. Yes, August. We're going to have that wine for sure.
Yes.
Awesome.